So we're going to talk about change management today. And this is my first and the last session with the participants. Can you enable screen sharing, Nitin? Maybe then I can share my screen. Full sessions. Okay. Amazing. You can share screen now. Welcome to this space, change management for TM, day 5, brought to you by Invest Hong Kong, partnerships which make the conference run successfully. I hope you know me by now. My name is Prayog. I am the regional manager for entity development and also talent management and also for EVA. So if you want to talk to me about TM, OD, change management processes, anything about finances, anything about planning, if you want to apply for MCP or anything in general, nice, you can get in touch with me. This is my Insta handle. I promote it in every commission wherever I go. There's a competition I have in the regional office to get the maximum followers by end of the term. So make sure to follow to know the happenings of the regional office team and what's happening with our lives. So you can go and get to know more. So I just want to quickly check how you're doing, AP, PM. I just wanted to type 1, 2, 3, 4 in the chat. Like, since this is the last session, it's going to be a bit relaxed. After all the MXP changes you have received, after all the MXP things you have gotten from the amazing AI team and also the GSC team, what is the state of the mind you are in right now? 1, so many things to read. 2, finally it's getting over. 3, oh my God, I'm so excited to implement MXP. 4, why this year? Why they had to change this year? I feel all 4 at once. Yeah, I can relate to that feeling. Or it can be a mix of multiple feelings also. I just want to know how you guys feeling. Does anyone want to share? Or just type it in the chat. 1, 2, 3, 4. I see 10 people here, but only 3 people responded. 4, 5. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
For me, I can share a little bit with you guys. Like, because MXP is a brand new thing, and it's not just a project, it's a whole product. So and when you change something into the whole product, you become the product head, and you need to read a lot of things related to how to implement it, how to cascade those kind of informations into your commissions. Like my team commission will be like, oh, what the fuck, why? So I need to understand clearly the concept and the basic knowledge about MXP so that I can cascade it clearly to my commission so that we can implement together. So that's why I choose one. That's why I choose one.
Makes sense. Thank you so much for Louis sharing that. Yeah, of course, like this mindset shift of becoming more product oriented in CVP is the main thing with this next teaching as well. Thank you for sharing that. I honestly excited with a lot of things into put into mind. Yeah, makes sense. So we're gonna answer all these things. Not just you. Imagine you're an MCVP with like higher capacity to understand things and quickly grasp. But you have a bigger responsibility when you end this RFS and also go to your planning and also post planning to explain all these things to your network and downscale these things in the best way possible, right? So one of the best tools you have at your disposal is a change management tool. So this is what we're going to talk about more in this space. So what you may take back from this space is overall reflection and your understanding of the MXP. Journal a little bit based on your understanding, what are the things you need, what are the support you need and stuff like that. Make sure yourself that you create an output for yourself for the change management. We will work on the Asia Pacific and then you can take inspiration from that and you can take it for your own entity. And then overall better prepared to make it happen. So this is what's going to happen. The expectation from my side for this session is be willing to participate here. Like this is not going to be one-way delivery or like a theoretic session. Okay? I never like to take those sessions. In a session, even if it is like for 15 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes, I like to see transformation in the delegates, and it will only happen if we are equally participating and also learning in the same way. So be here and now. That's why we did the breathing exercise as well. Be very here and now. If you have any other thing, please keep it aside for the next 1 hour. If there is any distraction, please keep it aside for the next 1 hour and take ownership of the output of this space. Only then you'll be able to get the maximum of this space. All right, are we ready to go? Let's begin. Amazing. So I'm going to start with just a quick reflection on what are the things we have gone so far in the overall TM commission space, right? So this is a familiar slide. So day one, we started with the leadership. It's all about leadership. We had like the whole launch pad, product concept, MXP is a complete, what about like the overall experience booklet, what it is, understood more about why we did this, how we did this, the elements, you understand why the whole it's about leadership. The next thing you understood is about the overall business model of the MXP itself, like rethinking the whole business model, why it was wrong to not take into consideration the membership at the core of our business model, and how now we are taking into consideration how the whole business model changes, how we are putting them into also an experience journey. Third thing, the global personas and the product packages, like how, what should be the member persona? What are the different packages we have for the members? What is the persona? What you understood more about the global personas as well. Then you went through, you understood the whole MOS, like how do you want to measure and how do you want to track this whole talent management and the whole membership experience journey change. What is ROTI, return on talent investment? Why ROTI? Like what is the direct impact of the ROTI? What are the nuances of it in your own entity? And what are the key processes you should take care in your entity? Like overall, like what are the processes you need to work upon to make ROTI happen in your entity? Like the whole membership journey, the whole funnel, the whole operation model, all the standards, the framework, the logo and the branding elements. You learned all these things. And last but not the least, you've received all the key resources you need, like what is the direct impact, indirect impact, all the marketing related stuff. In the morning today, you had a session with the platform, like Mokulis from platform team. He explained to you about how it is going to be looking like on the platform, on XPA, how do you do the next recruitment and the need process and the whole funnel management on XPA itself. And even OD and BD resources will be given to the respective people. Like all the departments also, all the subsystems also will be aligned to the whole new changes, right? So these are all the spaces we went through. These are like almost 8 or 9 sessions we went through to deliver this. So I just want to ask you this one thing. There are 2 polls I'm going to ask you in the Telegram chat. Okay. The first poll is already up. This is the first poll I want to put onto the Telegram chat. Can you guys see the poll? How do you feel after going through this MXP content? Like, how do you feel after going through all this content? Can you vote on that poll first? Go to the Telegram chat and then you can vote. Is it possible for you to vote or you should be okay? We'll record it. Are you clueless? What is MXP? Does not make sense for me. Take me back to the simpler times of PM. There's too much information. I understand about around 50%. If I go through all the information again, I'll get it, but I'll need time. I'm super clear. I'm ready to do change management. Okay, I see. It's a multiple kind. You can choose multiple things as well and then vote. So if you're feeling mixed feelings, then you can choose multiple things and vote as well. All right. I see like 4 people have voted. What about the rest of you? What about the rest of you? I see Sophia, Chia, Randy, Hui. Okay, all of you voted. Almost all of you. Shreya. Okay, cool. All of you have voted. So, okay. Majority of the people are thinking if you go through all the materials again, you will get everything. But that there are still people, there is too much information. I don't understand the most of it. There is like a too much information. I understand probably half of it. So I just want to tell you it's okay. We expect this. This is very normal. This is very natural. We don't expect you to understand everything within one conference and try to implement it tomorrow. Okay. So we're gonna go step by step. You don't want to be Tony Stark and understand everything overnight. So the idea is to understand, take it slow by slow. So I want to take a second poll and understand, like, because most of you mentioned that the things are unclear to you, right? So I'm going to take a second poll in the same chat. So what parts of MXP you're still unclear? The product concept, the business model, the persona, the ROTI, MOS, key processes, resources, or you have questions about any other things, platform related things, recruitment related things. So the second poll is also up in the Telegram chat. Can you guys vote? Okay, you're voting in the second chat. You can choose multiple things as well while voting. If you don't understand more than one thing, just select all the things you don't understand or still unclear and then type it. So this will help us. Okay, you ticked everything, bro. Okay, cool. Julie, we can work on it. Nice. Some of you are putting more than two things. How about the rest of you? Louis, you need examples, dry run. Yes, makes sense. Information is repetitive. We will really appreciate the examples from the regional office. Okay, we can take examples. What sort of an examples are you talking about, Nisha? Nisha, am I pronouncing your name correct? May I ask you a question? Nisha Sierra, what sort of an examples are you expecting? Need examples or a dry run the program? Meanwhile, rest of you keep voting. I see, okay, 5 people have voted. Okay, got it. Platform related things. Majority of you have concerns about the platform related thing. Some key resources and how to do recruitment as well. That's also issue. But you are clear about product concept, business model, persona, and everything else. So that's a good start. So I'm just waiting for the answer, but then it's okay. So to be very honest, going ahead, we're not going to give you SOPs on how to run this in your entity. The idea is we'll give you all the resources, branding, materials, personas, and this will be the first time we'll be running it to see how it goes. But if like we'll be there to support you throughout the whole processes, like throughout the standards, throughout the framework, we will be providing all the resources to you and work with you on how it works, and whatever doubts and clarifications you have throughout the process, we'll clarify those. So thank you for the voting process as well. This will help us design, like make the next steps of the change management smoother for the rest of you. So just one thing I want to mention here. This is one of my favorite famous quotes. Like, a problem is only a problem if you there's a problem. And the idea is one of the things we have in the LDM is being solution oriented, right? If we try to focus too much on what are the kind of problems we may face while experimenting this or while implementing this, we'll get stuck into that loop of, okay, this is problematic, this is not going to happen, why it won't work in my entity, why this change is hard, why this is difficult. If you keep on thinking about these things, then those are the things which is going to repeat. But then all the change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end. So it's going to be very difficult in the beginning. We understand this, we acknowledge this, we know this, and with all this expectation, that's why you're getting it before you go into planning, so that when you enter planning, by the time you get more clearer, and by the time we downscale it to the network by August, this will be much more clearer, and this will become more smooth, right? So we understand the change management is difficult, and this is another study. Which I was reading. Like, you can check the about the change management itself. Like, you can check the link from Harvard Business Review. Is that 66% of the changes initiatives in all organizations, especially management, they fail to achieve the desired outcomes. Like more than 60, like around 70% is the what they have mentioned, and 66% is one of the studies which mentioned like all the change management initiatives in the big organizations, corporation fail to achieve the desired outcomes. This is a huge change, as Louis was mentioning, in the beginning, right? We have to change our thought process into becoming more like a product-oriented person now, and you have to come up with the whole funnel. There is a lot of changes. There is a lot needs to be done. So it's very understandable, but it's at the same time, it's very scary as well, because most of the change, like 70% is like, of course, more than half the time, right? It's whatever changes we try to do in the organization, they fail. And the number one reason behind behind why we fail in the change processes is employee resistance and the ineffective management of the people side of the change. So all change, of course, like you understand, based on the polls, I can see you've understood the whole business model, the persona. Most of you have mentioned they understand the KPIs and the MOSs as well of the whole MXP change. But then what you are still trying to understand is the whole platform thing, recruitment things, and the resources things, right? Those are the very important things as well. So we need to spend enough time in order to understand what is the people side of this change going to be. So I understand you are also still in the learning process of knowing what fully grasping able to grasp your mind around what MXP is. But at the same time, you have a huge task of downscaling this to the network. And since now we have already opened it in the RFS, I'm sure the network will start also getting these information soon from your side or from any communication side in your respective commissions as well. And there will be more confused than you are, and they'll have like 1,000 more questions than you have right now. We don't want this change to fail because it's important, because like you understand the product concept, why we're bringing this change, right? Because it's about leadership, and we need to bring back the element of membership as a product in the at the center, because we do care about their leadership development experience at the end of the day. So we don't want this change to fail because of the employee resistance, and especially the people side of the change. So that's why we're going to use a methodology called switch. I don't know if you know this switch methodology. Okay, just to support another evidence, like I don't know if you know this. Do you know this Kubler-Ross change curve for the people side of the change? Have you heard of this? Any management students or TM students or like HR students, anyone studying management? Kubler-Ross, this is a methodology actually used in a grief or even psychology, like, because they use it for the psychology change management. So at any change in the beginning, like at any change over time, this is how the curve looks like. This is how like a normal change timeline curve looks like in an entity, or this is a classic model of grief also. Kubler-Ross, you can Google it. So first, people, like when you downscale this to the network, they may be in the shock in the first, okay, what's happening? Why are we changing everything? Then they'll be in denial, okay, this is not going to work. This will be false. This is not happening. This won't work, and AI will change something else. Then you'll get frustrated. Okay, so many things are changing. I don't want to change. It was good the way it was before. Why there is no TM processes? Team channel, it was so easy. That's what I learned. Then people go into depression. They have like a low mood. People don't want to be a TM in TM department. There's a lot of work. Then they'll start. They'll have like a low energy. But then, like after the depression mode, like we can start with experimentation, decision, and integration. So idea of this session, the idea of this spaces is to take you from shock to experimentation as soon as possible. And then we can go to somewhere there, from decision to integration. So at each point in time, you need to create alignment, maximize communication, spark motivation, develop capability, and share knowledge. So we are currently in the, like we have already aligned, we've created all the materials and everything for you, but now we are in the second, third, fourth, fifth space where we are communicating with you, we're trying to understand your issues, talking with you, we'll motivate you like with whatever the methods we have, with the commission spaces, RNRs, everything. And we will be launching the MXP Academy soon, develop your capacity to tell you how to downscale this, how to make sure that this whole change makes sense, and share all the knowledge we have for you with this change. And also we'll encourage all of you to share with each other as well, to take you smoothly through this whole change management process. So don't worry about it. Hold on tight. Just make sure that you be here and now and take ownership of this whole thing, so that it becomes easier for you to change. So let's brainstorm how we're going to actually do this change in Asia Pacific. Okay. And for that, we're going to use switch methodology. Is anyone not familiar with the switch methodology here? Raise your hands if you don't know what is a switch methodology for change. Eddie doesn't know. Okay, so I assume the rest of you know. Okay, Luis doesn't know. Chia doesn't know. Sophia, do you know? Priyanka, Randy, Shreya, Nisha, what about you? Do you know or don't? No, it's quite new. Okay, so those of you who raise hand, you don't know. Okay, don't worry. We'll go through it one by one. I'll go to it step by step, and it will help you create the change management practices. We'll do like a sample initiative for AP today in this space, and then you can use this in the entity as well. So don't worry, it just adds up 5 minutes of the session. So this is the question. Switch. It's actually based on a book. So I can send you the PDF as well. If you have time, if you love reading books and explore management and HR related things, you can quickly go through it or check the YouTube videos or summary online. You can put your hand up. Do you have a question, Sophia? That's why you raised your hand. Yes, no. Okay, no, cool. It was from the past. Okay, got it. So cool. Don't worry. What we can do is we can watch this quick 5-minute video about like what is the switch methodology, and then I have created a framework for all of us to work with all the behavioral aspect, the knowledge aspects, the how exactly we want to drive this change down in Asia Pacific and in Europe. So let me play this quick 5-minute video. Can you hear? So this is like an infographic video for about 5 minutes, and he'll explain there are 3 things in the whole change management process, which is called direct the rider, the elephant, and also shape the path. So they'll explain the whole methodology and the framework in this. And if you have any doubts, you can ask at the end. Are we ready to watch like a quick video? Should know this. Let me know if you can hear the sound and it's smooth. I've optimized. Can you hear the sound? Give me a thumbs up if you can.
Switch. How to Change When Change is Hard by Chip and Dan Heath is a great book for leaders and their teams looking to make changes in their organizations, and for people wanting to make changes in their own lives. Stories and case studies backed by science to illustrate ideas and practices that actually work fill this entertaining and educational book. In it, the Heath brothers empower you to make changes with more confidence. Switch begins with the brilliant 3-part framework for guiding you on how to change behavior in any situation in ways that are a bit more simple, practical, and easier. To change behavior, you've got to 1. Direct the rider, a person's rational side. 2. Motivate the elephant, a person's emotional side. And 3. Shape the path, the situation or environment a person is in. For direct the rider, the Heath brothers say that what looks like resistance is often a lack of clarity. Give crystal clear direction if you want behavior to change. For motivate the elephant, they say, what looks like laziness is often exhaustion. The rider can't get his way by force for very long. It's critical that you engage people's emotional side and get their elephants on the path and cooperating. And for shape the path, what looks like a people problem is often a situation problem. They call the situation, including the environment, the path. When the path is shaped, you make changes more likely, regardless with what's going on with the rider or the elephant. Each of these 3 parts has 3 chapters. Let's get into it, starting with direct the rider. Find the bright spots. A tendency to spin his wheels is the rider's weakness. His analysis almost always looks at problems rather than bright spots. This leads to analysis paralysis. To make progress on a change, you need ways to direct the rider. Ask, what's working and how can we do more of it? Use that bright spot to reproduce behavior you and the company value. Learning to recognize and understand bright spots helps answer the question, what exactly needs to be done differently, and makes change easier. Script the critical moves. Ambiguity or uncertainty exhausts the rider because he or she has to tug the reins of the elephant, expending energy trying to steer the elephant down a new path. Successful change requires translating goals into concrete behaviors. As a leader, you've got to give crystal clear guidance and think about the specific behavior you want to see. The rider in people needs a script as a guide to action. The Heath brothers state, don't think big picture. Think in terms of specific behaviors you want performed. Clarity dissolves resistance. Point to the destination. A big goal motivates both the rider and the elephant. When you point to and describe a compelling destination, you redirect thinking because the rider begins to figure out how to get there. As a leader, create what the Heath brothers call a destination postcard, a vivid image from the near-term future that shows what could be possible. Then, back it up with a script for the behaviors you want. The Heath brothers say, change is easier when you know where you're going and why it's worth it. Motivate the elephant. Find the feeling. The elephant is motivated by emotion. To motivate people to change, you must find a feeling. A leader taps into the feelings that motivate people to become interested, contribute their creativity, and solve bigger and more challenging problems. The Heath brothers say, Knowing something isn't enough to cause change. Make people feel something. Shrink the change. If you want an elephant that is not hesitant about change, you need to shrink the change. The elephant does not enjoy tasks without immediate gratification. It needs reassurance that things will not be so bad. Hope, according to the Heath brothers, is elephant fuel. And when a task feels too big, the elephant will resist. Giving the elephant in people a sense of progress and making them feel closer to the finish line than they thought keeps the elephant from getting demoralized. The Heath brothers talk about using small wins, milestones within reach. Select small wins that have two traits. One, they're meaningful, and two, they're within immediate reach. Grow your people. The elephant must believe it is capable of making the change. The Heath brothers talk about a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. With a fixed mindset, people believe their abilities are basically static or stay the same. They avoid challenges and fear people will see them as a failure. With a growth mindset, people believe abilities are like muscles. They can be built up with practice. They will accept more challenges despite the risk of failure. As a leader, ask yourself, how can I make people make a change based on the way they see themselves rather than their circumstances? As the Heath brothers say, cultivate a sense of identity and instill the growth mindset. Shape the path. Tweak the environment. Leaders can help people make changes by providing clear direction, helping the rider, or boosting their motivation, helping the elephant. And they can make the journey easier by tweaking the environment, which makes the right behavior easier to perform and the wrong behaviors a lot tougher to perform. As the Heath brothers say, when the situation changes, the behavior changes. So change the situation. Build habits. To change people, you must learn how to change their habits. If the right habits are in place, good behaviors follow, and the rider does not have to take charge. The Heath brothers call this behavioral autopilot. They suggest two things to think about when building habits. One, the habit should serve and advance your mission. And two, the habit needs to be relatively easy to embrace. The Heath brothers say, when behavior is habitual, it's free. It doesn't tax the rider. Rally the herd. The elephant, the emotional side of people, always looks to the herd for cues about how to behave. In times of change, nobody knows how to behave, and that can lead to problems. The Heath brothers say that people do what they do because they see their peers doing those things. When the herd has embraced the right behavior, they encourage leaders to highlight that it is working and to publicize it. As the Heath brothers say, behavior is contagious. Help it spread. We've given you the heart of the content from Switch by Chip and Dan Heath, but you will want to read the book and the great case studies that provide context for true understanding of how you can make changes. Switch is an inspiring read, and we will reference it in the future for making changes in our own culture at Calibrain. We hope that this review was fun and helpful.
Wait. So I just wanna, like, for the people who didn't know what the switch method is, did you get to know a bit more about the method itself? Maybe once I show the whole tracker or the whole tool which we've created with this, then it'll be clearer. But then what did you understand from the video? Shreya says, I'm loving this. Nice. It's a very nice method. The book is also nice. Anyone? Even from the people who knew this before or just got to know. What did you learn quickly?
I can share. So to be honest, I know from before like switch method because ISIC in India used to follow for replanning for LCs, but still I think I did not have as much clarity as I got from the video only. But I think a lot of it depends on how like to understand what might be the underlying impression of people regarding change, and it does not have to do with the knowledge or the skills that they have or we are trying to build in them, but mostly how how they are perceiving things. And let's say if we can change that, if we can bring them, instead of focusing on their resistance, if we can focus on their clarity, instead of focusing on their emotional side, if we can bring them a lot of empowerment and understanding, and then at the same time, instead of causing the people problem, help them understand how situations can be made easier. I think that is how a change becomes very easy to be, uh, I think, at least understood, and then finally start being implemented in the in wherever we are trying to put it through. So I think this is something that I got it, but of course it's a huge concept, so I'll learn now.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that as well. So now if you know, like, yeah, it's a very interesting tool. I also used it in the past. Sometimes, like when I was in Nepal, we used this certain changes we wanted to bring when we brought new products and stuff like that. It really works. So, but it requires like your careful assessment on how do you want to work. So I'm going to introduce you to this tool of how can you work with this whole change management. So this is the tool, okay? Once you click on that link, you will go to like this drive, not this drive. Yeah, just click on any of the thing, like go to the first one MXP regional change. Okay, you will come here. Share the link of this sheet itself. So this is a tool. This is how it looks. Okay, so what you need to do first is write down what is the type of change you want to have in the region. Okay, so this is something we can discuss. So this is some example. So you want to change an LC timeline. So is it a behavioral change? Is it a functional change, or an organizational change, or a culture change? Or change the culture of success from ELD to revenue to EVA to BD. So this is a behavioral change. Of course, it will have like a high impact on the kind of MXP change you want to bring. It will require like a lot of efforts. See, for example, the average, it's what is the average of this? It's 5. So the first piece is doing this. Identify what exactly we need to change in the organization. So with MXP, you can put things like, okay, starting to count, like starting to think about TM in terms of funnel mindset. And you mentioned it's more like a behavioral change or a cultural change. Or what does it mean for a function? Say changing the recruitment process on being it more on platform. So changing the recruitment process, shifting it to XPA. So this is more like a functional change. Or an organizational change could be thinking about membership journeys and mapping out membership journeys. And this is a organizational change, stuff like this. So you note down all the changes over here. And then this is the method you learn. Then you come on to the right side, right? The method you just learned. Clarity, direct the rider, then desire, motivate the elephant, and ease, shaping the path. So all the 9 things also, how to follow the bright spot. There are guiding questions to ask. So after you identify this, which are the changes you want to do, pick up the 3 changes you want to drive down. Type down the top 3 changes over here. Okay, what is the outcome exactly from this change? Who is the audience? And once you have these 3 changes, just follow these guiding questions. So how to follow the bright spot, and then if you follow the guiding questions, it will be super clear. Like who did it work for? What are the specific behaviors we want in the TM commission? What are the how can you inspire the people of TM commission? How can you shrink the change? So for example, how can you break it down the whole pieces and not deliver everything, all the materials in one space? How can you build habits around, say for example, imagine at the end of next quarter, if all of the TM commission starts talking about membership approvals, membership realization. So this kind of becomes a habit for everyone and stuff like that. So just follow the guiding questions here and you'll be able to know more of the tool itself. What I'm going to do is like, I'm going to open like a 2 quick breakout rooms. Nathan, can you open 2 breakout rooms? Okay, since we have 8 people here, right? 4 each. And I'm going to ask you to work on Asia Pacific change. So based on your understanding of MXP, what are the things you want to prioritize as a change? And just identify the top 3 changes you want to have in the region and in the TM commission. It could be based on your entity's experience as well. So that's why I've given you. Open this tool. 2 breakouts room, 1 can go here, 2nd can go here, and just note it down. So initially, I thought most of the people would join. So I had like 3 groups. So let me suggest, can you put as can India, I second Sri Lanka, and I second Malaysia in one group. And can you put rest of the people in other group?
Yes, Priya, I'm doing that.
So Shreya, Randy, and Jia, put them in one group. And then put maybe Priyanka, Louis, Michelle, and so forth.
Okay, 5 people in one group, 3 people in one group, right?
Yeah, this is just based on the complexity of the membership you have. That's why I put this. It's like number of members and the complexity of structures you have. So first breakout, what you need to do is very simple. First, identify what is the change. Okay, first identify this basic thing. Like what are all the things you want to change in the region, and what is the type of change it is? Is it like a functional change, organizational change, behavioral change? I don't want to complete this whole thingy today. Of course, it's difficult. You will do this you can do this activity with your MCs or your TM focus group or steering team in your entities, your commission in your post planning. But then at least I wanted to identify the various kind of changes which comes with MXP in your entity, and also the top 3 changes you want to focus on in the region in your entity. Is it clear what you need to do? This is what you need to do. Can someone take a screenshot and put it in the TM group? So I hope you're clear with what you're supposed to do. Can you open the breakouts?
Okay, opening breakout rooms. They're open.
Just discuss what are the changes you want to have. Thank you, Shreya, as well. We're gonna come back in about 5 to 7 minutes. Okay. Is it open?
Yeah, Priya, they're open. They need to join.
Yes.